Breaking news. Wherever the sheeple go, they're getting dosed. And the sheeple see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. They don't want to know what they're getting dosed with, ladies and gentlemen. But if they did know, they would understand how dangerous the situation is. It's off the scales. The radiation is like never before. And they're erecting these death towers everywhere you go, everywhere people go. At the stadiums, at the grocery stores, at the shopping malls, at the gas stations, downtown, at school. Everywhere. People are getting irradiated like never before. It's like we're on a whole different planet right now. And cancer clusters, ladies and gentlemen, do exist. And cell towers have been taken down due to cancer clusters in America. That's a real thing. And there's been a long-term government study, the Interphone study, that proves rare cancers near these death towers. It proves rare cancers with this type of radiation. And it certainly is a danger to us all. Not sure what the video guy is doing. Just another day at the STFN studios, ladies and gentlemen. The effects are real, the concerns are real, and they're laughing at people's health concerns. And what do they usually say when they're faced with a huge health crisis? They're like, oh, don't worry about it. Wash your hands. You don't need a mask. Ladies and gentlemen, they told you that this virus was safe, no worse than the flu. Look at the situation now. It's not just the birds and the bees that are dropping dead, it's the trees. 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, it's all radioactive, and it's been increasing the cancer rates in our country. Life expectancy is going down, and they're laughing at people's health concerns. They're laughing at, government studies like the Interphone study. And I suppose one person's skepticism is another person's conspiracy theory. They want to say that this is fake news, that the government studies are fake news, ladies and gentlemen. But when you think about our election process, how it's just this little club of people electing themselves, what we have in this country isn't a problem with fake news. We've got fake government with fake agencies, and they're all just shills for the industries. And they're not out there promoting public safety. They're out there promoting their products, and they're making sure their products come to market. And they're irradiating everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and people are paying a huge price, just like with this virus, just like so many other things. The Flint water crisis and many other things. Billions of dollars are paid out to vaccine injury every year. They say they're safe, yet they're not safe. And we're learning the same thing about their GMOs and their pesticides and just about everything else you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen. What they say is safe and effective is really part of their eugenics program. They're out to get you. Have no doubt about it. And what's going on out there, it is not your imagination. It's the Georgia Guidestones. And if it was any worse out there, it would be some kind of science fiction movie. It's like we're all in the Twilight Zone. We're all in 1984. And it's not going to go away by itself, ladies and gentlemen. Once tyranny has its hooks in you, it's not going to let go willingly. And just like all parasites, they must be addressed as parasites. What is the video guy doing out there, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on in the world today? It seems like world government has let this virus in, suspended your rights, declared themselves wartime presidents, and they're holding you hostage. They want to cancel the 4th of July. They want to cancel the U.S. Constitution. They want to cancel your rights, and they want to cancel humanity as we know it. You can tell by the levels of radiation that are out there right now. This is from Lake Tahoe, off the scales with their new 5G upgrade. It just blows through that tri-field meter. And, we're seeing this everywhere. And it's worse than a microwave oven. Pay attention to the numbers here with this microwave oven. 15 milliwatts per meter squared. Now, they say 1 milliwatt per meter squared is dangerous. You can do your own research on that. And you really want to be underneath 0.20. But right now, in our city streets, in the United States of America, going outside is worse than being in a microwave oven. You have to see it for yourself to believe it sometimes. And here it is. The proof you've been looking for. It is dangerous. What, you think these meters are made to be maxed out? You think maxing out a meter is safe? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on. But of course, the shills on the mainstream media are just as fake as the government. And they're out there just Operation Mockingbird, repeating the talking points, reading the script. They're not real people, they're actors, ladies and gentlemen. And worse than that, they're con men and women. And they're trying to build this false sense of security that their death grid is safe, that their kill grid is safe. It's not safe, ladies and gentlemen. No radiation without representation, to say the least. That's what people are saying out there. And, we're getting numerous reports of civil disobedience. People basically eliminating the threat themselves. And we're seeing citizens now, storm Capitol buildings armed. They want to take their country back. We just have to pick a date, ladies and gentlemen. What date do we take our country back? What date is the Boogaloo? July 4th is coming up. Seems rather fitting, wouldn't you say? Don't buy into the hypnosis on the television. They'll have you forgetting what's going on. They'll have you forgetting what's right and wrong. They'll continue with their indoctrination, their programming, their fear-mongering. They release this virus, they let it in, they make sure nobody has masks or protective equipment. They make sure everybody's infected and in need of a treatment, in need of a cure. You're desperate, you're being held hostage. It's now the Stockholm Syndrome. You'll do anything for the cure, you'll do anything for one more day, and they know it. That's the problem with this system right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's too centralized. It's too imperial in nature. It's become an empire. It's no longer a republic. It's no longer for, of, and by the people. It's for, of, and by the corporation. And regular people can't get elected. Regular people don't have free speech. Regular people have no rights anymore in America. They have the right to shut up, and they have the right to be killed, and they have the right to pay their taxes, and that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. That's as far as your rights go these days. Here's another disturbing video. Wi-Fi off, the plants grow normally, according to program. And with the Wi-Fi on, 72 hours time lapse, nothing. This is an experiment you can repeat for yourselves. There's a problem with this radiation. And you can discover that problem for yourselves. Now, what is it about this radiation that interrupts the program? What is this program of life that makes it grow? You've heard of DNA. It has its own language. its own alphabet. It codes for things like start and stop. It quite literally is like a computer program. And that's why we're facing like a virus. It's infecting the program. Every living creature runs on the same programming language, the same DNA. It's why they can splice things from one organism into another, make that a GMO. It's all using the same language. The same DNA codes for different proteins. No DNA, no proteins, no life. Even the simplest form of life requires megabytes of information, a very complex program. That does not randomly assemble. That is called the law of biogenesis. It takes life to make life because life replicates. The program copies itself. Copy and paste. That's basically how life reproduces to a certain extent. It requires the program. Yet they teach you that life came from nothing. They imply that in their theories of evolution. It's really the theory of devolution. It's there to mislead you. It's there to complete the illusion of what you perceive as life. 4 walls, a television screen. You get in your car, you go to a destination, you come back. The next day you repeat. That's the illusion. What's really going on out there is far more complex. And the DNA gives us a glimpse of that. You know, what this technology actually is another story. How it distorts time and space, if you will. But what is it with this program of life? What is going on out there? If you really want to know how deep the rabbit hole goes, if you really want to know how we got here, you could start in Genesis 1, chapter 1. But I've got an experiment for you. You go onto YouTube right now. You search for Matthew KJV for the King James Version. They got it on audio. It's an oral tradition. It's meant to be listened to. And you start playing it. By the time you get halfway through it, you're going to run into synchronicities. You're going to run into fill in the blanks. You're going to connect dots, and you're going to start seeing glitches in the matrix. All of a sudden, things around you are going to start going batshit crazy. The demons will emerge from the shadows. They will attempt to interrupt you. The phone will start ringing. This matrix doesn't want you listening to the Bible. It is a life-changing experience each and every time. All you got to do is listen to it. Know it better than your favorite song on MTV. Get the real news from the KJV, ladies and gentlemen. And you'll understand how real this matrix is. You'll understand where this programming language comes from. We didn't just land here on this Goldilocks planet. We were put here, ladies and gentlemen, and the armies of the devil are trying to deceive you. They're trying to destroy life. They are the enemy of humanity, and it is really these demons that are in control. This they live that you see out there, it's demonic in nature, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beast system. It's quite literally the pages of the Bible playing out before your very eyes. You just got to pay attention to it. You got to understand the context of what you're living. And then you can see the television for what it is. 24/7 product placement for the devil. Luciferian ideology in disguise. The Christmas season isn't about the Santa Claus. Easter isn't about the Easter Bunny. The entire system is predicated on deceiving you and keeping you in the dark. Don't go out like that, ladies and gentlemen. find the true meaning of life right there in the Bible. And remember that when 2 or more of you are together praying for something, then the matrix really starts to react. And your prayers are like cruise missiles in a sense. They can reach anywhere, anytime. And that's why they don't want strong Christian couples, because how easy is it for a couple to get together and agree and pray on something? Oh, that makes for a special operations team right out there in the front lines, right out there in the trenches against these demons in this matrix. Ladies and gentlemen, like and share. We've been banned everywhere. You can't imagine why. And of course they want to censor the truth. Of course they want to censor information. Of course they want to keep you in the dark. That's what this dark side does. They keep you in the dark. And they try to keep you ignorant. And they don't want you to understand what's going on out there. But you need to understand. And you need to participate in the solution. But you got to educate yourself. You got to have the right foundation. You got to have your armor on. And everybody knows Ephesians 6:12. We are not wrestling against flesh and blood. We are wrestling against demonic spirits from heavenly places. I mean, they might as well be aliens for all intents and purposes. They're not from this planet, and they are trying to kill us all. The evidence is overwhelming, and of course the people on the television are going to tell you the contrary. They're going to tell you the exact opposite of that. And they're going to make their arguments convincing. They're going to bring shills that are paid for by the Beast System telecoms that tell you that this radiation is safe. Of course they're going to lie to you. What, nobody's ever lied to you before? You don't know what a lie is? Do your own research and determine what is the truth. But they don't want that, ladies and gentlemen. You have to take the initiative. You have to find it. You have to want it. You have to fight for it. You have to protect it. You know, how much time do you allocate for your friends or for your family, for your girlfriend, your boyfriend, for your favorite hobby? How much time do you dedicate to idle talk, meaningless activities? And how much time do you dedicate to making a difference out there? How much time do you dedicate to spreading the word out there, ladies and gentlemen? Nothing is more powerful than preaching the Bible. Nothing is more powerful than fighting this fight the way it was meant to be fought. And it's all there in the Bible. And, you know, it's on tape. It's in audio. You can listen to it while you're doing whatever you're doing out there. And instead of spending your time trying to figure out, you know, when they're going to release you from your captivity, understand who's really occupying this planet. What occupying force is holding us hostage. Knowing thy enemy, knowing the true nature of the battlefield is the only way to get ahead in this war. And that's really all you can say about that, ladies and gentlemen. As for this 5G, it's obviously deadly. It's obviously part of this beast system. It's anti-life. It's not friendly for the environment. It's not friendly for your neighborhood. It's not friendly for your kids. And you really have to wonder about the morals of people that would promote a giant megawatt Death Tower transmitter in your neighborhood. I mean, if these things are so safe, why do they have to hide them? Why do they have to lie to you? Why do they have to censor the information? If these things are so safe, why do they blow off the scales on a lot of these meters now? It wasn't always like that. You know, if you look at the videos from the early 2000s, mid 2000s, you know, you'd see 3, 4, 5 milliwatt, you know, and people are freaking out, They were converting that into microwatts, and it was like, wow, you're just getting fried. Cancer cases, everywhere. And now, it's just like 2, 3, 4, 5 times that. And you don't even know with some of these meters what you're actually getting blasted with, because they're off the scales. But other meters will show you, it's way higher than 20 milliwatts. It's way higher than 100 milliwatts. And there's places that, you wouldn't want to live long term. Knowing is half the battle, and spreading the news, will help people understand how dangerous this is. And you should be organizing, 5G, protests in your community. Hand out flyers, get people together, even if it's only like 2, 3, or 4 of you to start out with. You just pick a store, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. You show up with some signs, you hand out more flyers, you start a little Facebook group, and more people will gravitate your way, because they don't want these death towers either. Nobody wants these death towers in their neighborhoods. It brings down property values, it raises, your risk, your health risk. And, on our Facebook page right now, STFN Reloaded, we've posted a news report from the insurance agencies where they say 250,000 people per year in America, workers, we should say, telecom workers, get fried and injured by these death towers. You see the radiation burns. You see how real and deadly these things are. Check that out on our Facebook page, STFN Reloaded. And we want to give a big shout out to everybody in the audience and our administrator on that Facebook page, STFN Reloaded, Bella Marie. She does wonderful work, and you don't hear much about her, but she's out there, and she's got a page, Stop 5G Genocide. You should check that out. And she's operating out in Australia, so all the Australians out there should network in her direction. Stop 5G, and everybody should be stopping 5G and 4G. You don't want this on your block. You don't want this in your neighborhood. And if this is a country for, of, and by the people, then our interests should matter. If Sodom and Gomorrah is offended over every little thing, and they just stop the world for the rainbow parade, why can't they, listen to people's concerns when they're legitimate and you've got the research? Because there's a hidden agenda there. And, there's really only one way things are going to change, and it's if we pressure them into it. So we got to continue to apply pressure. 5G protests are a wonderful way to meet new people and to talk about things that matter. You need to network in your community, and you need to protect the kids in your community, because they can't protect themselves. When they put a death tower in, on your school property, those kids, they can't protect themselves. Nobody's going to listen to them. Little elementary school kids, they can't protect themselves. And, the best way to figure out, what's going on out there is to get a meter, to understand the science, to understand the research. And that way, you don't get shoved off your feet by some kind of, loony from the telecom lobby that tells you that their radiation is safe. Their radiation is not safe, and they're just trying to con you and bluff you, and it's a confidence game. But there are major government studies that say that this radiation causes rare cancers, as well as many other studies, and there's an army of doctors, researchers, professors that are trying to, roll back the death grid and stop the 5G. So these concerns are not unfounded, and, laughing at people's concerns and making fun of them like a high school student, calling them names, is counterproductive. People aren't going to buy, that kind of, rhetoric. They can measure the radiation for themselves, and they can compare it to a microwave oven. And if you want to argue that living in a microwave oven is safe and effective, then obviously you have another thing coming. We appreciate everybody tuning in out there. Check out our website, stfnreport.com. That's stfnreport.com for Stranger Than Fiction news. And if you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.